Good evening. No, I've made this long. It's not. I can. To me, it's a long, arduous drive. But thankfully, I'll be seeing my folks here shortly, and possibly even bug my buddy here lately or later. I mean, we'll see. First thing to do though is get to the folks' place and unload my stuff into the RV, or well, it's a trailer, but I call it an RV. So that way all my stuff is in the trailer, and I basically get that shit dealt with before I do anything else. Visit with my folks, make sure my mom's doing alright. I don't know, see what happens, because I may end up just passing out kind of early. I was up at like 4:30 this morning. I know the drive up though, I stopped and I was grabbing a Coke out of a machine at the rest area. And, excuse me, ended up getting the dollar coins. And of course, you can see the Sacagawea one. And the first thing I go looking for is to see if it's the Cheerios coin, which I don't think it is. I gotta look at it a little closer, because the way you tell is on the tail of the bird on the reverse side, on the back side. And then I want to say it's a Philadelphia minted one, but I can't remember. It could be a Denver one. So I have to double check. It's been a while. I like to collect coins. I like to do all that shit. Like, my interests are everywhere. I know for the longest time, for some reason, I obsessively kept every single 1965 quarter that I ever found in my pocket change, even though they're not really worth shit. Now, there's some out there, if you watch for them, there is like a small number of the 1965s that were minted in I want to say a 1964 planchet, and they weren't supposed to do that. So there are some out there like that, but just like you can find some old, I want to say 71s or 72s. Was it 1970, 71, or 72? Can't remember. In one of those 3 years, they were quarters that were originally Canadian quarters that were reminted to be American quarters. Because the U.S., the same places that mint the American money, like the coins and stuff for the U.S., is the same places that make the coins and all that shit for Canada. I mean, Canada has their own minting companies or whatever too, but yeah, the U.S., the same, like the Denver Mint, the Philadelphia Mint, and stuff like that, they do mint coinage and money for Canada too. But no, I thought it was pretty cool. I'm just sitting there like, I haven't seen these for a while, and you don't. Whenever you see dollar coins or anything like that, you always see them in the register in the little side, like one of the side pockets, because they're like, the people who are working are like, dude, I know that's either gotta be worth something, even if it's not, I'm keeping it. That's so cool. I was like that all the time myself. When I work at the dispensary and all that shit, and even with my tips, sometimes I just go buy boxes of pennies and shit just so I can go through them. You know, and not just pull the wheat pennies out, but look for any of the errors, mistakes, stuff like that. No, I think I spent most of the drive just sitting and listening to YouTube. Between music that I've got saved in like my, well, I pay the $10 a month so I don't have to get the commercials and shit, but also so I can, so like music videos and stuff that I like and all that, I will download them or whatever, and that way I can listen to the music whenever I hit dead zones or dead spots where I don't get any reception. But sometimes I'll just listen to the music anyways and use my headset and kind of shut the rest of the world out while I'm just driving, because yeah, today's definitely been a long day, but a lot of it's because of this damn drive. I'm not every now and then I have to change up like what direction I kind of what way or path I go to get to the same place, so that way I don't get too much anxiety from the drive. Yeah, at the same time it's I've still been burned out on this and all that. I know whenever I finally get a new home to move and all that, I will be looking forward to that drive. Because after that, I won't be having to make these long ass drives anymore. It's gonna suck because I won't be seeing family, if ever. But at least I know at that point I won't be making at least this trip along this, because for some reason from Klamath to my folks' place, the trip it burns me the hell out. A lot of it has to do with when I first got that house and moved down there. There was a moment there I was having to make 600-mile round trips every other day, and I wasn't getting much sleep at all. I was sleeping in the back of my truck. This isn't my truck. I'm having to borrow my folks' truck because the engine on mine blew. But I had to sleep in the back seat of my truck and everything, and it got just from the start of getting that house, it's just been nothing but fucking hell. And anything remotely related to it or anything just gives me anxiety. Anything remotely related to the amount of shit that I went through the last few years just gives me anxiety. So it is what it is. I just gotta keep pushing myself to work through this and try and stay patient so that when the home finally does sell, I can finally make the changes that need to change. I know I've also been kind of sitting and thinking of myself on this trip, because I'm really I recognize I smoke way too fucking much, especially these days, and it's just gotten worse. And I'm not going to be one of those people who's going to go, oh yeah, my New Year's resolution is I'm going to quit on New Year's. That shit never works for anybody, and those that do, I commend you on it. But I would like to start working on quitting smoking here at the beginning of the year. Actually work on quitting and hopefully quit this next year. Just actually quit. I just know I'm not going to be able to kick something like that overnight. So, yeah, I'm just hoping when things calm down enough, there's not so much excessive stress, like negative stress. All the anxiety and everything like that. I'm hoping a lot of it will subside with the sale of the house and moving. Yet in the meantime, I can at least set the goal of, I can do that now. Yet I know it's not going to happen with all it, like I said, all this bullshit that's been going on, all the stress, just everything, even things that I'm not talking about. Yet I can still set a goal for myself that once, at the beginning of the year, I can start working on pushing myself to actually completely quit. And in between now and then, I can try and push myself to at least cut back as much as I can and start mentally preparing myself for that, because as I said, there's things that I don't talk about, but there's things I haven't really talked about on here that even pertains to impartially, even with my smoking habits and stuff. It's just, yeah. I really need to make a complete turnaround on many things, and a good majority of it is stress and anxiety driven. I'm making somewhat of good time. I mean, not the greatest, I can say, but I left around noon, so yeah, it's going on 5 o'clock now, so yeah, normally it's like between a 5 and 6 hour drive, depending on traffic and everything. And yeah, I've caught the tail end of rush hour, so it slowed me down a little bit, but that's okay. A little bit burned out. It's where, like, when the part with moving to any of the areas that I've been looking at moving to, between the states and stuff, what might take some people a couple days to do, it's gonna definitely take me about a week. Especially doing that drive by myself. And having my dogs with, because I'll have, of course, these two, because I've got Momo and Coda with me. I had to leave. Well, I didn't have to, but I did, because I didn't really want to drag Gordon up this way, for a week and have him endure the cat carrier that far right now. So I had him go stay with someone else for the week. That way he's not sitting in the house alone while I'm gone for 6, 7 days or however long. Because I may go home before sooner. I don't know, but this is at least the plan. But it'll be a fuck of a drive with a few dogs and a couple cats, because I got mom and cat at my folks' place. If you don't notice, I happen to love animals. I got these two staring at me right now. just a bit mentally exhausted, and just exhausted in many formats, but definitely when it comes to the drive, I'm pretty exhausted from it. I used to love road trips and all that stuff, but yeah, this drive, you know, that year doing the constant round trips by myself, and it just, ever since I've been alone pretty much, it took it right out of me. So I mean, there might be a different type of rekindle of excitement when it comes to moving or going somewhere else. Just right now, this particular drive just died. Not a fan of it. I'm looking forward to finally seeing my mom, making sure she's doing alright and everything, and getting to chat at her, you know, face to face, and give my mom a hug, see my dad. And then go check in on my buddy and his family, make sure that they're all alright. Because they're good people. Even though I've had to sever certain connections with them on social media because I just don't trust other people, it's just sort of affected those types of communication and those types of friendships and all that in a lot of ways. Not a fan of the dirty windows, I'm sorry. Seems to not matter because I got these two little brats in here, and anytime I go into the market or the gas station or whatever, and I got them in the truck, nose up against the window, you know, like they can smell through it, but I don't know if they can. I don't know if dogs can do that. It makes me wonder. But yeah, I still gotta bust in here though at some point with some Windex and newspaper to wipe it all down. I know some people are sitting there on newspaper. Yeah, if you want streakless windows, like my old boss at China Delight up in Beavertown taught me. He looked at me, he's like, "Hey Jason, you come here. I need you to wash windows real quick for me." And I'd be looking at him like, "All right, Bruce, you know, I can do that. I get that done." And I go and I grab the Windex, and then I proceed to grab the hand towel. And he's like, "No, you know, use that. You go put that back. I'm gonna show you old Chinese secret." And I'm looking at him like, "There's a Chinese secret for washing windows." Okay, you got me intrigued. I love Bruce. He's awesome. And anyways, Bruce like, "You see newspaper over there on the table? They're next to office?" "Yeah." "You grab some newspaper. Not shiny newspaper. Just the paper with the black and white whiting." I'm like, "Okay." We go out, go to wipe down the glass doors and the windows, and he goes, "See, watch me." Sprays the glass, wipes it down with the newspaper, and goes, "See? No streak. You use old Chinese secret. We have streakless windows all over." I love that guy. So yeah, ever since, that's pretty much what I've done. When if I'm gonna wash a window, I'm gonna use fucking newspaper. Just not the shiny ones that you get, like the little clip ads or the shiny pages of the clip ads or whatever. Look like a page out of a magazine or some shit. But yeah, of course these days you don't find many newspapers, do you? Closest thing you can find really is a nickel ad, and even then nickel ads are even getting harder to find. But yeah, no. Of course, then again, since I'm on the subject and it's kind of making me laugh, just kind of, because I mean, yeah, I'm still picturing those moments in that day. Like I can remember it. There was like a day it was after work. So in the mornings up until about noon, the restaurant would have American breakfast. And then they would close for about just a few hours, 2-3 hours, something like that. And then reopen, and then it turns to Chinese restaurant, to the Chinese menu. Still got some American food on there, the basics that you would find at any other Chinese restaurant. But when our shift was over, we would all get together and go into the bar, which would be the only part of the restaurant that would stay open. Because in the in-between time, the other co-workers that worked for the Chinese part of the restaurant, they would go in, they'd get food prep done real fast, as much as they can, all that done. Get things set and ready real quick for, the evening, when it turns over into the Chinese restaurant. But then they'll have a quick lunch, and then then if you go into the restaurant during that time period, kind of in that in-between, just before, the late lunch, early dinner time type stuff, you'll see all these little feet poking out from the booths, because they'd all take naps in the booths there on the bench seats and stuff. And yeah, it was awesome. I mean, had fun. But I actually loved working with them and all that stuff, and they were really good people. But while in the bar, sitting eating lunch, and there was my buddy Nate there, and of course a couple other co-workers. We're all just sitting around one of the main tables there, just obviously drinking, so we get to drink for free. And I'm sitting there eating my lunch, having my rum and coke at the time. And the bar door was like partway open. It was like halfway open or some shit, right around there. It wasn't fully open, wasn't quite closed, and it wasn't like inched open. It was like halfway open. And Bruce, the owner, comes walking in, and all of a sudden we're just all sitting there chit chatting, getting buzzed and all that shit. I'm watching a couple of coworkers get straight drunk because they get, a little more to their drink and all that. I'm a lightweight, so I just, yeah. Bruce comes walking into the bar, and he's looking over at the door, and he goes, "Okay, who did this?" And one of my coworkers, she looks at him and goes, "Bruce, what's going on? What's wrong?" He goes, "Who left the door halfway open?" We're looking at each other like, "Don't know. We haven't been out there yet, yet. We just came in here and just sat down and are eating and drinking, or just enjoying our drinks. Why?" He goes, "Well, you see, we don't leave door halfway open. Because in China," he goes, "you either have door closed all the way, or it's open all the way. Not halfway open." And we're looking at him going, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Door's not supposed to be half open or half closed." And we're looking at him going, "Well, why is it not supposed to be half open or closed, but it can be all the way open or all the way closed?" "Because this is not a whole house. We do not sell hookahs here. We sell food. We cook food. We don't cook pussy. We sell food. This is a restaurant." We just start dying laughing. He goes, "In China, where I'm from, when door half open, that means it's a whole house. We don't have hookahs here." And I'm just dying. I'm like, is this for real? I'm eating my food. Like, is this really going on? Is this a real conversation that's happening right now in front of me? My other coworker, which she was just a straight fucking lush, she was just dying. I think all of us were dying. We're trying not to piss ourselves as we're listening to Bruce explain what the meaning of the door of a door was being half open. And it just absolutely priceless. Absolutely priceless. I still, I've told that story a few times to a couple people, and all that, and I still can't help but laugh every time because it's just Bruce Lee for real. And what was cool is in the restaurant there, he actually had a picture of him with the real Bruce Lee together, but he was a kid at the time. And that was actually who he's named after. So I thought it was really really freaking cool. Really freaking cool. Of course, yeah. There's other stories that I could tell on. Some of them heartfelt, some of them like funny, disgusting, or disgusting funny, however you want to put it. But it was still a good time. But anyways, that's my little bit of a ramble while I'm, headed towards the folks' place. I'm basically almost there now. I still got a little bit to go, but I'm not that far away. So, yep. Hope you guys had a good day, and y'all have a good night. And hopefully it wasn't the case of the Mondays for anybody. So, stay safe. Try and, again, have a good night, and thanks for watching. Lit.